Hey friends, my name is Kevin Adams and I'm senior pastor of Granite Springs Church, a position I'm delighted to have. Today we're going to introduce you to the idea of Soul Talk, a new program or new conversation we're having as part of Granite Springs. It's really an old conversation, but we're excited to start it here at Granite Springs Church. Soul Talk is a conversation that you have with a trusted guide, someone who has more experience in a certain part of living Christian faith than you do, someone who is wise, someone who is humble, someone who is themselves teachable. And it's a one-on-one conversation you have with them where you're trying to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit inside you, a voice that teaches you to love and calls you to love not only God Himself, but people in your life as well. So Soul Talk is a way to help to do that extra good. Even better. There are a lot of ways to grow in faith that the Christian church has experienced over the centuries. One recent way is something called discipleship or teaching, where people join in small groups or they one-on-one have conversations with someone who is a kind of mentor for them or kind of teacher for them. Even older than that and beyond that, there's this idea in the Catholic Church of a confessional booth. And some of you are familiar with a confessional booth, with a conversation that begins, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." And someone listens to you and absolves you and then helps you find a new way. Soul Talk is a little bit closer to an Orthodox tradition of things where you have a confessor. You don't go into a formal confessional booth. You don't focus on education itself. But you have a conversation with someone, a confessor, someone who will listen to you, pay attention to what you're trying to pay attention to, someone who can teach you to pray, someone who can teach you to really walk through the various, sometimes surprising journeys that life has. C.S. Lewis himself, a former atheist, was an educator. He was kind of proud of the fact that he was an educator and not clergy, I think, in a lot of different ways. He was an author, but he was also a kind of spiritual director of his own kind. People of different ages and different walks of life, people with atheistic backgrounds, long-term Christian backgrounds, sometimes overly pious backgrounds, some folks with all kinds of different backgrounds would come to him and ask for advice. For instance, someone came to him or wrote him a letter and said, "I'm afraid about going into a nursing home. I'm afraid that's the next season of life for me." And he said, "Why? Are you afraid that God Himself will not be in the nursing home?" Someone else asked him, "I have all these wrinkles and I'm embarrassed by my old body and the way it's becoming so cumbersome and shaky in my old age." And he said, "Those wrinkles that you're talking about are the badge of honor of a Christian who has lived a lot of life and has experience and is a gift to those around them." A child once wrote him and said, "I'm afraid that I like Aslan in the books he had written, a character that imitated Christ or resembled Christ more than I love Jesus Himself." And he said, "Do not fear, friend." He said, "Because to love Aslan and to love everything good is to love Jesus Himself." Soul Talk is a way to have conversations like that with someone you can trust, with someone who is wise, not someone who's an expert, but someone who can listen for the Holy Spirit and to the Holy Spirit in your life alongside of you. There are various ways to listen to the Holy Spirit in your life. One is by yourself in a room, quietly meditating, maybe memorizing the Bible, trying to seek deeper understanding of the Bible. One is in a group of people who come alongside you to try to understand the Bible or try to understand a current situation in your life or in the wider world. But we invite you to Soul Talk because it gives you a chance to listen to a guide who's paying very careful attention to what's being said in you and through you and to you. We think this will be a gift, especially in a time of COVID, especially in a time of deep anxiety, especially in a time where it's difficult to get together as a group. This is something we've wanted to do for months and for years, really. But now with COVID, we have a chance to initiate this ancient and historic practice of the church, which we think will be a wonderful gift to everyone who participates. Friends, if you are interested in Soul Talk, an experiment really for all of us, an experiment based on the history and the wisdom of the church, we invite you to go to granitesprings.org/Soul Talk. And if you scroll down, there will be a Book Now button that you can click on, and you can sign up with one of our wise pastoral staff all of whom I'm a very big fan of and excited that they are participating in this program.